Hello, I'm Ivan Navi, and I watch crap so you don't have to. And here we are again with another episode of Ivan Reacts, where first thing, yeah, I noticed the painting, the drawing, the Adventure Time thing of over my shoulder is tilting. I just noticed that. It's bugging me. Gonna try to fix that after I film this. Let's see if it falls down. Now, Ivan Reacts is the segment where I react to things. Today we're going to react to, if you might have guessed, Netflix movie of Death Note. Okay, if you've been following me for a while, you may know that I have a tendency to spout out the whole plot, like go into details when I do these react videos, tell you what happened in the movie, the show, whatever, right? I'm not going to do it this time. You know why? It is very generic and plain. This is what happened. Light Turner, who lives in Seattle, he seems to be about 17 or something, a teenager. The book falls right next to him. He picks it up, gets into a fight with a bully, gets punched, and says, "Oh, life's not fair." And his mom is dead. Yeah, they kind of ham-fisted that. And then then Ryuk, the Shinigami, the Grim Reaper. They don't use that term, by the way. They kind of use Death God. So tells him, "Hey, look, he's picking on a girl. Why don't you do something about this? This is obviously a dream. Just write his name and see what happens." He dies, and then all right, I'm going to punish the guy who killed my mom. And then just Mia comes up and says, "Hey, what you're reading there?" "Well, I have a book that can kill people." Yeah, that's pretty much it. She's like super into it. Then they start killing people, go with the name Kira, and somehow develop a religion around that. L comes in. Stuff happens. Not that interesting. Couple good moments there. Ending kind of good. Okay, look, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't read the manga or seen the anime. I hear it's good. It's just generally this sort of stuff isn't for me. Murder, revenge driven. It's like, yeah, I get where you're coming from, that you might want revenge or something sometimes. Wish fulfillment aspect, I get it. Sometimes you want to see bad people suffer. You want that little bit of taste of power. I understand it. I can understand it, but it's just not me. It's not. I'm not a big justice kind of guy, but yeah, I don't see that revenge for me. Okay. So I can't talk about this movie from the point of view of a fan, but I do know enough about the series that I think I can understand the differences. I did some research, and there is a very deep philosophical debate on what is justice in the anime and the manga. Here, they kind of touch upon it, but no. Just no. Okay, just taking this film, this Netflix film, which I literally just watched, just taking it as by itself, no other surrounding, like, the rest of me, it doesn't exist, just this movie. This thing is terribly written. And honestly, most of the actors do a terrible job. I don't think they're terrible actors. I just don't think they had a lot to work with. It's just like I said, ham-fisted. First few minutes, they kind of ham-fisted why you should try to feel bad for him. He got beat up. He got his mom. The principal's doing nothing about that. And he gets in trouble for trying to help a girl. It's like, yeah, you're trying a little too hard. Then they ham-fist, well, most people would cut you some slack because your mom died, but I'm not that kind of person. Oh, okay, it's like, I see what I would normally call this guy, the principal, a douche, but they ham-fisted that exposition so hard, I couldn't just, I literally only focused on the fact that it was that ham-fisted. Then okay, look, there's a little thing that goes on in visual media, TV, movies, that when you see a character, they move up to the character with a pan shot, and you see them have a beer or something, you automatically assume they're a bit of a drinker. And usually negative connotations go from that, like, oh, they hit their kid. No, it looked like they were setting up Light's father to be abusive. you know what? At worst, he's a bit distant. It clearly shows that he does care about his son. The first scene we have him in, he asks, "Oh, this kid just died at your school. How are you taking it? Were you friends with him?" He shows concern. His father shows concern throughout this whole thing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know why you're trying to set him up as a bad guy or a antagonist or anything. Then we have. I'm gonna get to Light at last, but let me just go through Mia. She is very gung ho about them killing people. Now, they don't really explain why. She says, "I'm a cheerleader. This is the most important thing I've ever done." Okay, that's an attempt to explain why she would be enthralled with all this murdering bad guys thing. Why is she a cheerleader? It's like you're Light's girlfriend. Apparently get hot from murdering people, which is an issue by itself. But I'm not gonna delve into that. Why is she a cheerleader? I know there's a stereotype that cheerleaders are bright, energetic, and I'm not saying that you have to follow that stereotype. Why is she a cheerleader? She doesn't seem to really care about other people. Cheerleaders, like you're trying to cheer people. You have a lot of school spirit. Isn't that the idea? It doesn't make sense why she's a cheerleader. A lot of her character doesn't make sense. And I'm going to spoil stuff here for you. She later writes Light's name in the book to kill him. Says, "Give me the book or else I'm going to let it kill you. I can rip off a page and burn it, but if you don't give me that book, I'm going to let you die." She also suggested earlier to kill his father because he went up in front of a news and saying, "Kira's bad. We're not going to take it. You can kill me, but somebody else will take my place." He's a cop, by the way. And Light stops her from writing his dad's name in the book because kind of called him out. And it's just like, there's no redeeming qualities about her. And there's not much of a personality. She's liking this crusade they're on. She's his girlfriend. That's about it. Ryuk likes her. Okay, let's talk about Ryuk. Played by William Dafoe. Alright, I gotta say, I think Dafoe actually did a good job. He is one of the bright spots of this movie. His voice acting is very solid. Very good. I can't say it's anything spectacular. His laugh is very creepy, but he does a great job, I think. Pretty good, at least. The effects on Ryuk, I think they're pretty good. They keep him mostly in shadows in the dark. I focused a lot on how his mouth moved. They really match the lips. Honestly, I think it's probably better that they kept him in the shadows. I saw bits and pieces of the Japanese live-action film and how he looked. They looked pretty cheesy. I think keeping him in the shadows was probably the best move. Overall, he was well-written. He had a bit of an attitude, and I liked that. That worked for him. So, Ryuk was pretty solid. Now let's go to L. Honestly, he's another bright spot in the series. I think he was a bit emotional at times. He had an assistant who got killed. So I see where the emotion's coming from, but he just seemed very, like he should have been calm throughout the thing. Like this would have been a calculated risk. He's supposedly one of the world's greatest detectives, if not the best detective, but cold calculating. He's been cold calculating. And then when his assistant dies, I'm a little surprised. You didn't foresee this coming. You've been making chess moves with your head. You figured out who Light was. You even confronted him about that and says, "Oh, well, yeah, this was like, if Light knew this, if Kira knew this, then I would do this." You were literally talking to the guy. You were obviously sure he was Kira. You couldn't foresee this coming? It just seems a little odd. And then in the end where he does an action chase, it's like, all right. The end for L is he essentially loses the case. The way things end up, it doesn't look like Light is the killer anymore. But he figures it out and goes into Light's room and finds a ripped page of the Death Note. And he finds it. He figures out how it works. He can write Light's name there, but realizes that he would be essentially becoming the killer he was after. And it leaves it ambiguous if it's going to, if he's going to write the name down, what he's going to do. I actually did kind of like that. Ambiguity is pretty good there. It's like open ended. I like that. I'm not sure how that would fit with the anime, but honestly, I felt that part was good. It's like I see where you pushed him, where he might be tempted to do that. So yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That's not bad. Overall, El's actor was pretty good. It was a little rough in places, but honestly, it was very serviceable. I don't know if it was the faux levels, but yeah, pretty good. Now let's go to Light. There is a topic about whitewashing. Now, I could go into this whole discussion. I'm only gonna say that that I'm not gonna defend whitewashing. It's just that I'm gonna make a note that I did see an interview where people were talked about people in Japan were asked about whitewashing, and they said they really didn't care. They thought if a movie was gonna be filmed in America, take place in America, even if it was an adaptation, it would make sense for them to use Americans. I'm gonna leave your decision to that to you. I figure if the actor is very capable and can play the role, then maybe you should let them. Maybe it should be a bit colorblind. Either way. Thing here is, he wasn't good at it. I don't know if it was the writing, if it was directing, or the actor. He wasn't good. Like, really at all. I can't think of a single scene I would really buy as being good. It's just, there were actually scenes that were supposed to be intense or scary where I look at the actor's face and I'm trying not to laugh. He's like, yeah, yeah. Ryuk showing up, tearing apart the classroom. He's trying to, and Light's trying to escape the room, and we see him in the glass, and he's like, ah. He's making such a weird face from that point on. I really couldn't take him seriously. He just seems like an angsty teen for the entire film. He just. You know all those memes you might have seen if you looked up Death Note in the last few months where they say an emo kid? Well, they were accurate. They were accurate. Look, I know in the anime, and I'm trying not to compare, there was a big thing about justice, about what's right, what's wrong. He claiming he is helping those who've been neglected, those who've been ignored. The first person he kills, the first two people he kills are his bully and the guy who killed his mom. This is clearly revenge driven. They're not justice, it's revenge. This is personal for him, revenge. And afterwards, he just kind of picks people that he sees are bad. A guy who's kidnapped his family. He's very cut and dry about this. And after that, they do attempt to add some moral distinction in there. Like, the Kira worshippers begin this thing, where a website where they post pictures and names of people who have done terrible things. Mia brings it up, and Light says, we can't go on that. People could be lying just because, oh, this guy he's cheating with my girlfriend. I want him dead. So they try to it, but they don't develop him. What is his sense of justice? What makes him think these people are wrong? You're getting news stories. You're getting things. Yes, you're trying that. But how do you distinguish good from bad? Obviously, he chooses not to kill his father, but it doesn't really go into it. And then he basically says, let's become a god. He's get worshippers. And this actually becomes a plot point. Because, one, near the end, L corners him. And he knows it. He has a gun and everything. What saves Light is that L admits that's Kira. A guy knocks him out and then calls Light, Lord Kira. That's literally a plot point about it. You're literally taking him as a god to make this work. Now, I know in the original, Kira's supposed to be very smart. They say he's smart, they don't particularly show it. All that they show is that he does a lot of homework for other people, probably makes some money off that. Otherwise, it's not so smart. They said he picks the name Kira because it's a misleading. They think, they'll think the killer's Japanese in another continent. No, the ending is kind of clever. When he finds out Mia has written his name in the Death Note, well, he sets it up so he offers her. if you really love me, don't take the book. She takes the book. And we find out that she dies if she picks the book. So she dies. And he apparently spent time on the website, took some names out of there, and when the Ferris wheel they're on collapses, she dies, he falls in the water, and maybe dies? I'm not exactly clear about that. And he picked two names, bad people. One of them is a doctor who apparently molested some people, let's not get into that, who was under the thrall of the book, commanded, goes in and saves El and then puts him in a medically induced coma. So, yeah. While the other guy gets the death note and makes a few more murders, so it seems like Kira's still killing people even with Light in a coma. And then he makes sure they kill each other themselves. Suicide, not good. And yeah. And so it looks like Light goes scot-free. Kind of a clever twist. I don't know if you could really control people that much in the original, but it was established in this movie, so it seems valid. I'll give you that. The twist was kind of nice. Out of that, the rest is, there's nothing much to talk about. Honestly, the pacing felt very slow. You couldn't relate to any of the characters. They mostly seemed like angsty, whiny teens for most of the point. They were like trying to be brooding, dark, and edgy. Edgelords! They were edgelords! It was not that great. The pace was terrible. I found myself like just trying not to fast forward because it was going slow. And honestly, the music in this, the soundtrack was awful. I've said it a couple times during the watching of it. It's just like, it felt dissonance. Like, it didn't match up the scene. Like, the end scene, especially. What am I supposed to be feeling here? Light is pretty much talking to his dad, coming out of the coma. You have the death note hidden behind you, so it looks like you're probably going to continue. But the music is kind of like a prom dance song, like love. They singing about love, and Ryuk's like laughing, saying, "Oh, humans are interesting." What am I supposed to be feeling here? The dissonance is terrible. The soundtrack is awful. It really is. It doesn't match the scenes at all. The thing is, it's not so awful like what The Room, Tommy Wiseau's The Room, where you could watch it because it's so bizarre. There's just nothing really sink your teeth into it. The animation Ryuk is good. Two of the actors did a pretty good job. There were a few good scenes, I guess. There were a few clever ideas. The cult thing really didn't seem to spread out. It's like, you mentioned it, you got this one guy knock this guy out, but besides that, there's nothing there. We really don't get a sense of Light's sense of justice, more than superficially. It's like just punishing those who got away with it. It needs more development than that. Yeah, it's, if anything, honestly, it's kind of, this movie's a letdown. If it was like really bad, you can at least make a lot of fun of it. Like in the Last Airbender, you have lots of stuff to say, make jokes about. Look at her hair. Why is everybody looking at their faces? You can make a lot of things, but this movie is just a very disappointing watch. It was boring, which I think is possibly the worst thing you could do for entertainment. Yeah, it was just not good. I would not recommend to watch it, even to make fun of it, because it's just like, there's nothing to latch onto. It's not good. It's just, you can't really say anything about it. Like, I've been saying for 15 minutes, and I pointed out their flaws, but you can't really make much jokes on it. She's a psycho. You are a whiny emo. It's like, that's about it. It's not even that great to riff on. Alright, I gotta get some more apple juice. Or something. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. So yeah, I would not recommend even bothering to watch it. So, yeah. Thank you for listening to me rant. I showed more emotion in these 15 minutes than in that hour and a half movie. I've been Ivan Navi. My Twitter handle is Storyteller Navi. Please feel to comment below, like, subscribe, and do all that good YouTube stuff. I'm gonna lay down, and I need tonight is Toonami night, so hopefully I'll get some good anime tonight. Obviously, I'm not getting anything from this movie. All right, so thank you for watching, and see you later.